Hello everyone, in this video we will talk about a very important basic topic, which is the difference in histological sections between arteries, veins and capillaries. And then I will make a drawing for sinusoid to compare it with capillaries directly. I listed a drawing of them on the board on the sides of each other in order to make a more precise, easy comparison. As we can see, the blood vessel is made of lumen and a wall. This is here inside is the lumen, which contains the red blood cells, and they are presented as numerous amount of red dots and blue dots on the veins. And the outer section right here is the artery or vein wall. The wall of the vein is divided into three sections. Tunica interna, which is in the lumen side. The tunica interna is made out of the basement membrane and the endothelial cells. The tunica externa is made out of smooth muscles and elastic fibers. The tunica externa is made out of elastic fibers and collagen fibers. The tunica externa or tunica adventitia is made out of connective tissue with vasa viscerum and nervi viscerum, which are extensive networks of blood vessels and nerves. Provides essential structural support to blood vessels, preventing them from expanding or collapsing due to positive or negative blood pressure. The tunica externa is made from both collagen and elastic fibers in loose connective tissue. In this small drawing here, we show the relationship between the heart, vein, artery, and capillary or sinusoid. The blood goes out from the heart toward the capillaries and sinusoids, then towards veins, then to the heart. The endothelium is continuous all over the blood vessels. So as we can see here, these are the endothelial cells. The endothelial cells are continuous all the way through the heart, veins, capillaries, and arteries. Here's the endothelial cells in the capillaries. Here's the endothelial cells in the veins. The tunica externa is thicker in veins and much thinner in arteries. So the first difference between arteries and veins is the thickness of the tunica externa. As we can see here, the tunica externa is smaller in arteries than it is in veins. The tunica media, as we said, is smooth muscle cells and elastic fibers. The tunica media is much larger in arteries than in veins. Why? Because arteries always change their size in order to regulate blood pressure. Unlike veins, arteries have very high blood pressure and it changes from time to time depending on the physical exercise, the amount of water in the blood, and even emotional state. And that's why arteries has these smooth muscles to contract and expand in response to the various factors. On the other hand, the veins work as a reservoir for the blood, and that's why we written here that they contain 64% of the overall blood of the body, and they have much thicker lumen and tunica externa. But the tunica interna is very little because veins can't expand or contract, and they depend on the skeletal muscle to push the blood to the heart. Third is the tunica interna, which as we said is made out of the basement membrane and endothelial cells. And as we can see here, capillaries doesn't have neither tunica externa nor tunica interna. They only have a single layer of endothelial cells. And now I'm gonna make a drawing for the sinusoid in order to compare between capillaries and sinusoid. Okay, there you go. And now as we can see here, this is a sinusoid and this is a capillary. As we can see in the drawing, the blood cells appear too big in the lumen of the capillary, which is around 5 to 10 micrometers. Thus, blood cells, which generally are around 8 micrometers in diameter, can pass through the lumen of the capillary only singular, one by one. There you go. This is blood cell, the red one, and this is the capillary wall. As we can see, thickness of the capillary lumen is about from here all the way to here, only 10 to 15 micrometer. The red blood cell is around 8 micrometer, and thus they pass single red blood cell at a time in the capillary. Can you imagine? And another thing to notice is that when we look at the endothelial cells of the capillaries, they are in contact with each other and overlapping, as we can see in certain occasions. They have much more contact junctions, which prevents the red blood cells and the large proteins from exiting from outside the lumen. So these here, the red blood cells, cannot exit into the outside. On the other hand, in the sinusoids, as we can see, the endothelial cells has some gaps in between and they don't have as much tight junction as in the capillaries, which allows red blood cells and the large proteins to exit into outside of the lumen of the sinusoid. Why is that? Sinusoids exist only on the liver, the spleen, and the bone marrow. In the liver can detect the damaged red blood cells and get rid of them. And on the spleen, it allows the white blood cells to enter in large quantities into the sinusoid in order to kill any germs that are present in the blood. And in the bone marrow, they are there in order to allow the bone marrow to insert the red blood cells and the other cells that are produced inside the bone marrow into the circular system. And that's why we have sinusoids in the liver, spleen, and bone marrow. On the other hand, capillaries exist on almost every other tissue in order to provide nutrients, oxygen, and hormones, and get rid of the CO2 and waste products. And that's it for today's lecture. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share to watch our latest videos. We will make sure to improve every time. Thank you so much.